Good morning.
今天举办的新闻发布会。
Welcome to today's
今天
press briefing.
我们非常高兴请来了
Today we
交
are
通
happy
运输
to
部
have
部长
with us
李小鹏先生、
Mr. Li Xiaopeng, Minister of
副部长
Transportation,
戴东昌先生、
Mr. Dai Dongchang, Vice Minister of Transportation,
副部长刘晓明
and
先生，
Mr. Liu Xiaoming, Vice Minister of
请
Transportation,
他们向大家介绍加快建设交通强
on
国、
China's efforts
推动
to build national
交通运
strengths in
输行业
transportation
高质量发展
and
的有关
advance
情
high
况，
quality
并
development
回答
of
大家关心的问
transportation.
题。
We will also
首
answer
先，
your
我们有
questions.
请李部长做介
Now
绍
the。floor is given to Mr. Li.
女士们、先生们，
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends from the press, good morning.
戴东昌副部长、刘晓明副部长，
It's a great pleasure for me to attend today's press briefing with Mr. Dai, Mr. Liu, and other colleagues.
这一段时间以来啊，很多记者朋友
Dear friends from the press, you have worked
报道疫情
at the front line and made extensive coverage of China's COVID-19 response and our
报道，展现了
work in the transportation area. Your reports have shown China's strength, China's spirit, and China's commitment.
对大家呀
And for that,
敬意。
we salute you.
同时呢，也要感谢大家
We also want to thank you
交通运输
for
做的大量的
following our work
报
in
道，
an objective and faithful manner over the years,
对交通运输有利
and for your strong support in terms of the oversight of our work.
其来的疫情，
Faced with the unexpected COVID-19 situation,
带领全
under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, we have fought a brave people's war against the virus,
战略
achieved major strategic outcomes,
统筹推进疫情防控和
and made positive progress in coordinating COVID-19 response and economic and social development.
只要我们
What we have done
团结在
has proven once again that as long as we rally around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core and adhere to the leadership of the Communist Party of China as well as the socialism with Chinese characteristics, we will overcome whatever difficulties that lie ahead.
在抗击疫情这场伟大的人民
In this all-out
阻击
people's war against the disease,
战线的大干部
people working at the transport front have earnestly fulfilled their duties and devoted their lives in this great campaign against COVID-19 to hold the lifeline of the containment work
全力当好副
and provide sufficient support for the resumption of economic activities. We have made all-out efforts in curbing the spread of the virus via transport vehicles. We made decisive plans to cut the spread of the virus while maintaining operation of highway network, emergency green channels, and supply of daily necessities. We released timely manner many policies. For railway, we work for speedy acceptance, dispatch, loading, transport, and delivery. For highway, we ensure no stop, no check, no fee, and priority for cargo transport of needed supplies. For water transport, we give priority lockage, priority, anchoring, and berthing for cargo ships. And for civil aviation, we reduce passenger flights by maintaining connections and conduct matchmaking for foreign aid companies and cargo flights companies. And for postal services, we open green channels. 40 million people from the transport industry have worked day and night at the front line of fighting the disease. We have made all-out efforts ensuring emergency transport capacity. We arranged special trains, flights, and vehicles to send 43,000 medical workers to Wuhan and Hubei. We set up logistic offices which worked around the clock in a case-by-case manner, and altogether sent to Hubei 1.5 million tons of containment supplies and daily necessities, and over 2.9 million tons of production materials.
春运错峰考察
We have made all-out efforts in guaranteeing people's staggered return after the Spring Festival, and for that purpose, we have launched 190,000 chartered trains,
400多辆
over 400 train services,
1500
1,500 chartered compartments,
570
and more than 570 chartered planes, sending more than 4.8 million migrant workers back to work. We have made all-out efforts in lowering transport costs. With the approval of the State Council, during this Spring Festival, we extended the free pass of tollway for 3 times. From February 17th to May 5th, we exempted highway tolls of about 159 billion yuan, providing strong support for COVID-19 response and the resumption of economic activities. We have made all our efforts in ensuring unclogged flow of international logistics. We established working mechanisms, rolled out relevant policies, and mapped out plans to guarantee sufficient support capacity. We actively support civil aviation companies in using passenger planes as cargo planes. We leveraged the important role of China-Europe freight train service. We started the marine postal service for international mails, and we ensured unclogged operation of cross-border transportation. We made emergency coordination to send overstocked mails. All these efforts have helped maintain smooth transport both at the macro and micro level to take the lead in the national efforts of economic and social development. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the year 2020 is an important year for the development of our transport industry. This year, the State Council issued a guideline for building China's national strengths in transportation, and General Secretary Xi Jinping has made important remarks in this regard. And this year, we have made fixed assets of 3.2 trillion yuan and 320 kilometers of new railways and more than 3,000 new waterways. The Daxing International Airport and the Beijing-Zhangjiakou high-speed railway has been put into operation. We also added another 290,000 kilometers of rural highway, and more than 9,000 villages have access to asphalt roads and mail post services. This year, we also established the tolls of 487 across the provincial borders, and established 182 homes of drivers. All these measures have lowered the logistic cost of over 82 billion yuan. We are further deepening such reform for concrete outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends from the press, in 2020 we will earnestly implement the decisions made by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, coordinate COVID-19 response and transportation work to support economic and social development. We will focus on maintaining stability in employment, finance, foreign trade, investment, and market expectation, and work for sufficient employment, improve people's livelihood, maintain stability of market entities, and ensure food and energy security, stable in industrial and supply chains, and community-level operation. We will stay confident, brave challenges, and turn the crisis into an opportunity. We will work hard to fulfill this year's targets and provide a strong underpinning for the ultimate victory against poverty and the completion of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. And that brings me to the end of my briefing. Now, Mr. Zhai, Mr. Liu, and I are ready to answer your questions. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. Now the floor is open for questions. Please identify yourself and your affiliation. Thank you from CCTV. As we are to impose containment measures on a regular basis, how will the Transportation Department better leverage its role in supporting the resumption of normal economic activities. Thank you. As I have mentioned in my opening remarks, the transportation authorities have been earnestly implementing the decisions made by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council in ensuring sound containment work. Moving forward, we will continue to follow the important instructions by General Secretary Xi Jinping and the decisions made by the Political Bureau under the leadership of the Central Leading Group on responding to the novel coronavirus disease and the plan of the State Council's Interagency Task Force. We will work in a coordinated manner, both the COVID-19 response and the economic and social development. Our efforts will be focused in the following aspects. First, we will work hard to forestall case import. We will continue to keep cross-border cargo transport open and passenger transport closed. And we will focus on the containment for key links and key groups of people. Second, we will take targeted measures for containment work for cargo vehicle drivers entering China, crew member of international vessel, and air crew of international cargo flights. And third, we will strengthen information sharing with health, customs, immigration, and other authorities for better inspection, immigration control, and transportation management at ports of entry for better protection and forestall of case import. Fourth, we will do a good job in the work shift of crew members of international vessels and the transfer of personnel arriving at points of entry. We will also focus on guarding against domestic resurgence. We will focus on the containment in key regions, and we will support Jilin, Heilongjiang, and other regions' transport authorities for their local work, and will continue to support Hubei and Wuhan's authorities in their containment work. And we will coordinate with the Beijing authorities for the containment work of the capital. And we will also continue the necessary personnel management and monitoring of health conditions to ensure sound COVID-19 response for key sites, key workplaces, and key groups. Furthermore, we will update in a timely manner relevant guidelines to specify the requirements of containment supplies, the disinfection, ventilation, and temperature measuring and reporting of passengers at relevant facilities, the setting of observation area, the occupancy rate, etc. And in addition, we will also do a good job for the protection of those working in the transport industry. Third, we will take the lead and ensure sound coordination. We will focus on effective investment in transportation. We will also bring stability to existing projects. We have a good momentum in the resumption of existing projects. 99.7% of them have resumed their work, and we will redouble our efforts in this regard. We will also launch new projects, especially the early stage of those projects, so that those already planned projects will be opened when the conditions are ripe, and such process will be accelerated as possible. Fourth, we will do a good job in the projects pools. We will guide local authorities to prepare a number of major projects that is in line with the major national strategy and the 14th five-year plan. Right now, we have built a new pool of projects. with over 800 billion yuan. While ensuring preliminary work, we can start those projects when needed. And fifth, we will focus on solving key issues. We will take multi-pronged efforts to pool the resources for those projects' development. Fourth, we will focus on the implementation of relevant policies. We have rolled out many fiscal and investment policies in support of local authorities' fight against COVID-19 and the resumption of economic activities. We will continue to guide transport the companies and authorities and personnel to make joint efforts in the implementation of those policies for concrete outcomes. Fifth, we will ensure smooth operation of the transportation system. We will work with transport authorities at various levels and relevant companies to ensure sound operation of supply and international logistic chains. Our ministry is confident that we can get things done, and under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, we will win this all-out people's war against COVID-19 and coordinate our COVID-19 response and the economic and social development. In this way, we will contribute to the victory against poverty and the completion of the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects. Thank you. Thank you. The pandemic has caused huge impact on the global logistic supply chain. So what measures has been taken by your ministry to ensure the smooth operation of this chain? Thank you. It is indeed an important issue. The logistic chain are closely connected to the industrial and supply chains. It is of great importance for economic and social development and people's livelihood. The CPC Central Committee and the State Council attach great importance to the relevant work concerning international logistic chain, and General Secretary Xi Jinping and Premier Li Keqiang have made important instructions. They urged speedy efforts to build a system of international logistics supply chain and to maintain unclogged international cargo transport. Following the requirements of the State Council, our ministry is working with other central authorities to form a task force on international logistics. This mechanism is working around the clock in a case-by-case manner, with multi-pronged measures to solve the prominent issues we face. Our work can be summarized in the following four aspects. First, we enhance our capacity for international cargo transport. We have taken various measures to enhance our cargo transport capacity. For railway transportation, we improved the maintenance and operation of China-Europe freight train services and appropriately increased the frequency of the service. For road transportation, we improved the coordination and used connection transport at points of entry to ensure normal cross-border transport. For marine transportation, we actively explore the international express vessel transportation as a new channel to send mails. For air transportation, we actively increase the cargo capacity of international airborne transportation and encourage airliners to use passenger planes to conduct cargo transportation and the use of chartered planes for these purposes. So this is the first aspect, enhancing capacity. And Thanks to these efforts, we have eased the situation in terms of the lack of handling capacity. Second, we strengthen dovetailing. We have been working with relevant authorities to meet the transportation need of manufacturing and foreign trade companies. We are working with the Foreign Ministry and other agencies to make plans to send China's aid to other countries for emergency humanitarian assistance to fight COVID-19. Third, we build platforms. We have established a database covering key companies in international air cargo transport, marine transport, postal services, China-Europe freight train services, and international road transport, which include key companies' resources for coordination. We are working with the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology and the Ministry of Commerce to speed up the building of a coordinating and maintaining system of international logistics supply chain. As we speak, the system is offering online search, order monitoring, and other services so that we can accelerate the dovetailing with systems of companies in advanced manufacturing and foreign aid. Fourth, we implement relevant policies. We are working with the Ministry of Finance and other authorities to roll out policy measures in the following areas. For example, we eased restrictions for airliners to use passenger flights to serve as cargo flights. We conducted tax reduction for railway airline companies. And for transport companies engaged in international transportation, we have helped them improve their containment work. For example, the workship of crew members on international vessels and the cabin crew quarantine for international cargo vessels and the cargo vehicle drivers quarantine at the ports of entry. All these measures must be effective and feasible. So for that purpose, we have made many guidelines and instructions. I think those measures I have mentioned have basically paid off. And moving forward, we will focus on ensuring sufficient logistics supplies, speeding up system building, rolling out supportive policies, and mapping out our development strategies to ensure unclogged operation of the international logistics. We will redouble our efforts to ensure that foreign trade goods can get in and get out of China, and build a modernized system of international logistics. For that, we are fully confident of our capacity in doing this work. And I hope transport authorities around the world can join hands for win-win outcomes and the unimpeded flow of goods and services across the world for the benefits of humanity. Thank you from Economic Daily. In your opening remarks, you mentioned the role of your ministry in deepening supply-side structural reform. So what kind of measures have been taken in lowering transport costs?
Thank you for your question. Vice Minister Dai Dongchang will take this question. Thank you. The supply-side structural reform is an important decision and plan made by the State Council and CPC Central Committee. It is also what we focus on in promoting the transportation work. We always take it as our first priority. We've built mechanism and yearly record, monthly follow-ups, and quarterly adjustment for the supply-side structural reform. In this regard, we already made positive achievements in the following areas. First, shoring up weak links, which is an important part in our work. For the weak links and bottlenecks in developing transportation, we focus on major strategies of the nation and poverty alleviation through transportation. We've accelerated our work in infrastructure building. In 2019, we finished a fixed asset investment of 3,243 billion yuan, among which railway, waterway, and civil aviation respectively accounted for 802 billion, 2,345 billion, and 95 billion. We already have some major progress in major projects such as Daxing Airport, Beijing Zhangjiakou Railway, and Yanqing Chongli Highway. These projects help us to improve the network of coordinated development in this region. Besides, we also improve our weak link in rural roads. Last year, we've built 290,000 kilometers of rural roads. Villages and townships, where conditions permit, have all built asphalt and cement roads. A total of 9,000 kilometers of roads are built to facilitate the development of resources, tourism, and industries. Second, reducing costs. Reducing costs in logistics is our focus in work. We have made great effort to streamline administration, reduce cost, and improve efficiency. We've published a working plan for reducing logistic costs. By reducing the cost of road travels and ports, we developed multimodal transportation and promote truck broker development. We also combine 3 examinations of trucks into one. In 2019, we reduced logistic costs by 80.4 billion yuan. Third is increasing growth drivers. We've resorted to organizational and management innovation to shift from old to new growth drivers. We join hands with People's Bank of China to publish the regulation on managing the capital of new forms of businesses. We've issued 860,000 certificates to vehicles for online car hailing services and 1.85 million driving licenses. We promote the development of smart roads, smart ports, and tourism big data. We've also promoted the integrated development with advanced manufacturing, tourism, and e-commerce. Looking ahead, we will seize the opportunity of this major strategic transformation to deepen the reform on the supply side. We will focus on the work in shoring up weak links, reducing cost, improving business environment, and improving services. In terms of shoring up weak links, we will focus on our weakness in infrastructure, expand the source of capital, and forestall and diffuse risks. It is expected that we will finish the investment of 1.8 trillion yuan in water and road transportation. In reducing costs, we will streamline administration, reduce cost, and improve efficiency to ease the burden on economy. We expect to reduce logistic cost by 130 billion yuan in improving growth drivers. We will extend service chain, strengthen growth drivers, and shift to new growth drivers. Besides, we will also ensure success in improving business environment and services. We will deepen the reform in streamline administration and improving services. We will unleash the impetus and potential of the system to improve the quality of transportation. Thank you. I would like to add something. Supply-side structural reform is an important task for us to build a country strong in transportation. In this regard, we've made great effort with great achievements, but we know that there is still a long way to go. So looking ahead, we will further implement the decisions and plans of CPC Central Committee and the State Council. Just as I said earlier, we will make earnest effort for implementation. We will reduce cost, improving services, and make our due contribution to building a country strong in transportation. This year is the year that marks the completion of the 13th five-year plan. So my question is, where are we on implementing those plans? And what are the steps that you are going to take? Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your question. Indeed, General Secretary Xi Jinping attached great importance to poverty alleviation, and on March 6th, symposium held in Beijing, he compared his visits to the poor regions several years ago and the visits he done in recent years. He said, a few years ago, when I went to those areas, it was all about bumpy roads, and even in the village, the road conditions were bad, dusty during sunny days, and muddy during rainy days. Yet in the past few years, we have witnessed tangible changes. The roads are now smooth, and I am happy to see such changes. His words are vivid examples of poverty alleviation through transportation development. General Secretary has acknowledged our work, and this is also his further goals he set for us. Since the 18th National Congress of the CPC, under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, significant progress has been made in poverty alleviation through transportation development. By the end of last year, all counties and villages with sufficient conditions have access to asphalt roads. And 99.1% of the villages with sufficient conditions have access to passenger bus. So we are working to realize the goal of bringing access to asphalt roads and passenger bus to every village. In building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, no one should be left behind due to insufficient transportation conditions. This is the solemn commitment made by us to the party and to the people. We will not slacken our efforts, and we will meet the targets on time. We will redouble our efforts to honor our commitment and secure an ultimate victory in poverty alleviation. First, we will redouble our efforts. We will max out our support to the three regions, namely Tibet, four prefectures in southern Xinjiang and the areas of Sichuan, Yunnan, Gansu, and Qinghai provinces with Tibetan populations, and the three prefectures, namely Liangshan, Nujiang, and Linxia, to fulfill the set targets in 13th five-year plan. Second, we will focus our efforts. We will continue our work so the remaining counties and villages with sufficient conditions will also have access to passenger bus Currently, we have 12 counties and 287 villages that do not have access to such conditions, and the targets will be met this year. Third, we will pool resources. We will leverage the industrial's advantage to coordinate our efforts for the concluding work of our support to the Liupanshan region. Fourth, we will work for concrete outcomes. We will use the inspection to look back at our work so that what we achieve will be concrete outcomes, not just some superficial numbers. Fifth, we will coordinate regional development. In building sound construction management, maintenance, and operation of rural roads, we will focus more our efforts into the access of roads for villages and better coordinate the efforts of poverty alleviation and rural rejuvenation. There is a saying in China that if you want to get rich, you should first have access to roads. And this is still true today. We will redouble our efforts so that no one will be left behind in pursuing a moderately prosperous society due to insufficient transportation conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. It's China Daily. My question is on auto driving. What are the progresses we've already made and what will it be like in the future? So I'd like to invite Vice Minister Liu Xiaopeng to take your question. Thank you for your question. Automatic driving is an important work in building transport power. The Ministry of Transportation places a great importance on this sector. We take it as a key priority. Guided by the principle of encouraging exploration, tolerating failure, ensuring safety, and opposing monopoly, we already made positive achievements, which can be summarized in 6 areas. First, policy support. We work with the Ministry of Industries and Information and the Ministry of Public Security to publish a guidance for the road test of automobiles. We also worked with NDRC and other agencies to publish a development strategy for smart automobiles to guide healthy development of the industry. Second, technological research. We work with the Ministry of Science and Technology to promote the project for comprehensive transportation and smart transportation. We identified 5 research centers for the research, and we have set up projects to pool research resources and focus on the major technologies in auto driving and vehicle infrastructure cooperative systems. And third, we've set up standards. We have already finished 11 technological standards in support of the development of this industry. Passenger vehicles and cargo vehicles now have a standard to follow when engaging in the development of this industry. Our goal is to improve the safety of the research. We have published the technology standards to support the development of infrastructure building for the industry. We work with Ministry of Public Security and Industry and Information to enhance coordination. The fourth effort is in tests. Across the nation, we identified 6 enclosed testing grounds to improve the safety for road tests and to improve VICS testing. We work with relevant ministries to promote data sharing and mutual recognition to improve services in testing. We published the technology guidance on building enclosed testing grounds. Fifth, pilot programs. We have started the work in building pilot programs for smart testing. We are improving the application of 5G telecommunication and Beidou navigation. In 2022, we will hold the Winter Olympics and the 9th Smart Transportation Conference in Suzhou. We will work with localities to coordinate our work in promoting the pilot of auto driving in Donghai Bridge and VICS on Yanqing Chongli Highway. The next is international cooperation. We enhanced communication with Germany and the Netherlands. We are also cooperating with other countries in terms of non-pilot driving. As you all know, auto driving involves the participation of different departments. Everyone needs to work together, and we need international cooperation and practical cooperation. Looking ahead, the Ministry of Transportation will identify the areas of priority to guide the effort in this industry to promote the technological development of auto driving in an effort to improve the network in transportation, energy, and other areas for coordinated development. We need to focus on 4 areas. First, strengthen synergy. We will strengthen the synergy of different sectors and different regions. Second, policy support. We will work with the Ministry of Industry and Information and Public Security to improve the current regulations on road tests. And the third is research and development. We will build a platform for the technological development of the industry. And fourth is pilot programs. We will build pilot programs to promote the application of research results. Thank you. Vice Minister Liu Xiaopeng just made a comprehensive answer on auto driving. When he was answering a question, I was thinking that auto driving is actually a great combination of traditional transportation with new technologies. New technologies have empowered traditional industries to generate new equipment, new infrastructure, and new forms of business. The Ministry of Transportation encourages and supports new technologies in playing a bigger role in transportation. We want such industries to give us new impetus for growth and make transportation a new market for the application of new technologies. Thank you. Next question, please. Starting from January the 1st, Highway has cancelled the toll station at provincial borders. Can you introduce more? Thank you for your question. This is actually a question that a lot of people are interested in, especially those who often travel on expressways. Tollway reform and removing toll stations at provincial borders is an important decision made by State Council and CBC Central Committee. It is also a project that bears on people's well-being and livelihood. At the end of 2017 and 2018, General Secretary Xi Jinping made it clear at the Central Economic Working Conference that we should reduce logistic costs. On March the 5th last year, in his government work report, Premier Li Keqiang said that within 2 years we should cancel the toll stations at provincial borders nationwide. In May, the executive meeting of the State Council required that provincial toll stations be removed by the end of 2019. Ministry of Transportation has been earnestly implementing those decisions. We work with relevant departments to rise up to the challenge and remove toll stations at provincial borders. At the last hour of December the 31st last year, we've cancelled all toll stations at provincial borders. That makes the transportation across the country an integrated network. It has benefited people's lives. That being said, we should admit that there are problems emerging when we switch to the new system. A lot of people have made very good suggestions to us. Since the start of this year, to solve those problems mentioned above, we focus on the people, put the people front and center. We try to improve the system, improve the policy and services. Especially since the start of COVID-19, we double down the effort to maintain smooth transportation and ensure good services, making great contributions to the resumption of work. In May the 6th, after we resumed to collect tolls, we ensure smooth transportation and sound services. I would like to summarize the current situation with 3 phrases. First, general stability. After we start to collect toll fees on May the 6th, the general situation is stable. Traffic volume keeps rising. From between May the 6th to May the 17th, traffic volume increased by 16%, among which cargo vehicle up by 19% and passenger cars increasing by 12%. The ETC passing has a greater coverage at 64.09%. The second phrase is higher efficiency. For passenger vehicles and cargo vehicles, the time they do not see any obstacles when passing through toll stations. So congestion has become a thing in the past. The number of toll stations that have a waiting line over 500 meters reduced by 16.68%. Road section with over 1,000 meters of congestion reduced by 13.92%. That means the efficiency has been greatly enhanced. The third is better services. A lot of people are following closely the problems of fee calculation, display of charges, and invoice. We have integrated those services. Now we have just resumed the fee collection. Considering the complexity of the system, even though we've done a lot of work, it is inevitable that there are places where we can improve. Therefore, we've built mechanisms at the national, provincial, and toll station level to improve technological support, complaint handling, and smooth transportation. For the next stage, we will fully leverage those mechanisms and strengthen monitor of the system. For the problems that we've discovered or reported by the people, we will handle them at first opportunity available to improve the stability and smooth operation of the system, to improve people's livelihood. The reform is still an arduous work. We believe that under the leadership of CPC Central Committee, by cooperating with different agencies and with the support of the people, we will ultimately achieve high-quality development of highways so that people can enjoy better transportation. With Xinhua News Agency, I have two questions. The first is on international freight transportation. It's on passenger transportation. My question is on the civil flights. And second question is that this year marks the last year for the 13th five-year plan, so I'd like to ask where are we on the implementation. As for civil aviation, the policy is consistent. Whether it will be adjusted, I would like to refer you to Civil Aviation Administration. As for your second question on 13th five-year plan, I'd like to say that last year we have started the evaluation work on the implementation of the 13th five-year plan. According to our evaluation, the major tasks and major projects are well underway. 26 indicators have seen good implementation. By 2019, total mileage of railway is 19.139 million kilometers. Highway mileage is 149,600 kilometers. Villages now have access to postal services. Berths with tonnage above 10,000 is 2,520. Civil aviation airport is 238. Subway mileage totals 6,172 kilometers. This data shows that the basic situation about the operation of transportation. It is estimated that the total mileage of railway will be 165,000 kilometers, covering 99% cities with a population above 200,000. The railway transportation between cities will be over 39,000 kilometers, connecting 98% cities with a population above 20,000. High-level river shipping lanes will be 16,500 kilometers. Civil airport will increase to 243. This will bring better life to the people and contribute to the building of a moderately prosperous society and a modern socialist country. Looking ahead, we will boost confidence, rise up to challenges, make greater efforts to finish the task of poverty eradication, and clear the way for building a Xiaopeng society. Thank you. With People's Daily. You just mentioned a transport power. So my question is, what are the things that we have done in this regard? Thank you for your question. Building a transport power is an important decision made by the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core in light of national conditions and with future perspective. In September last year, the State Council published the guidelines on transport power. General Secretary Xi Jinping, when attending the commencement ceremony of Daxing Airport, made important instruction to build a country strong in transportation. And we've done a lot of work in this regard. Relevant work is well underway. Looking ahead, we will ensure sound planning, pilot programs, and major programs. The first is planning. We are making the national plan for multimodal and comprehensive transportation network 2021 to 2050. This guideline has already is soliciting the opinion from scholars and public. Our goal is to get the approval from the CPC Central Committee within this year. In the meantime, we're also working on the development plan for the 14th five-year plan to promote high-quality development of the transportation. This work is also well underway. The second is pilot projects. Transportation is a very comprehensive work, so pilot work is necessary. We've identified pilot programs at the provincial and city levels, engaging universities and research institutes. They have focused on world-class technology services, which are divided into 22 pilot projects. Within 3 to 5 years, they will produce initial outcomes. And looking ahead, we will extend the pilot programs to more institutions. We encourage anyone interested, including universities, research institutes, and local governments, to take part. And the third is major projects. A lot of major projects are well underway, such as Shenzhen-Zhongshan Bridge and Tibet-Sichuan Railway. Looking ahead, we will have more major projects like this. What I want to stress is that we are already a major country in transportation, so it is necessary for us to build national strength further. In this regard, we will answer to the call of General Secretary Xi Jinping and build a transport power. Thank you.